In this video, I want to review the Pro version of the Max Shine M15 DA polisher, as well as talk about what I do after polishing in order to keep from scratching my paint again and ruining the job I just did. What's going on, and welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. If you're a pro detailer or a car enthusiast and you just love everything auto detailing, then definitely consider subscribing. So, I've got a Mini Cooper behind me. We're working on the hood right now, doing a little bit of paint correction just to get right into the content. What I'm going to be using here is not only the Max Shine M15 Pro version of this DA, I'm also going to be using a finishing polish by Americana Global. I'll read you the directions here. It says, finesse finishing, flawless finish polish was engineered for superlative clarity and binary finishing capabilities when paired with the Americana orange or black foam pad. Finesse easily removes DA haze, all that sort of stuff. Now, I'm not only using this from Americana Global, the finesse finishing polish, I'm also using a red foam finishing pad. This is, I believe this is their ultra finishing pad. So they have a black pad that's for finishing. This one is like, I guess, you know, if you want to go that extra mile. So ultra finishing red pad. For those of you guys wondering, because I get asked this question constantly, I love the Americana Global pads. I'm kind of a newbie when it comes to them. Generally, I use something like, you know, Meguiar's or Lake Country or sometimes Chemical Guys and just different pads. I'm kind of new to these pads, but so far, for the past like 2 months, I love them. They're fantastic. So definitely check out Americana Global's foam pads, but that's not what we're talking about here. So let me bring you guys in. So the Max Shine M15, you guys have seen me review this polisher before, except it's not this one. It's the kind of standard version, right? This one is the Pro version. So a couple quick notes, because I actually just want to go ahead and get to using it. I don't want to talk about it too much. It's got a platypus head, 5-inch backing plate, 1,000-watt motor, so tons of power behind this 5-inch backing plate, which I'll talk about later. And it's got your standard 1 through 6 speed setting, soft trigger start down here, and much like the Rupes, it's kind of, I don't know, similarly designed, I guess is what I would say, to the Rupes. And it's very light as well. It's actually lighter than the Rupes. And it's very, very, very easy to work with and a great user experience. So, let's go ahead and put some polish on this pad and get into it. Now, real fast, just so you guys know, when I'm dealing with a new pad, which this is, I've never used it before, I just took it out of the bag. I just actually ran some water over it. I like to squeeze water through the foam just for like 2 seconds. I wring it out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the DA. I kind of dabbed it with a microfiber. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the DA itself, and kind of just turn it on like the speed setting 6 so that I can make sure that all the water is wrung out of it. And basically, like we talk about seasoning your pads, this just kind of allows the polish to move through the foam better and on the paint a little bit better. You add some like liquid to it. It kind of helps the, I guess, lubricity maybe of the polish. When it's just a totally dry foam pad that you've never used, if you don't put some sort of water on it or some sort of like lubricant, it's kind of difficult to work with. And even sometimes the foam pad heats up really fast and will start to sling like foam particles everywhere. So you don't want that. That's a good reason why you can call it seasoning your pad, I guess, if you want to. But again, I'm just gonna turn it on speed setting 6 and let it kind of wring out. Okay, so now my pad is pretty dry, a little bit of water around the edges. I will fix that, no problem. Now, what I'm gonna do is take my, let's see here, finesse finishing polish. And another thing I wanna do is just kind of see how this polish works as far as finishing polish goes. Because again, I really like Americana Global's pads, but I've never really tried their polish. So when you're applying polish, you can do it a lot of different ways. Some people use little tiny, you know, quote unquote pea-sized dots. Some people use, I don't know, nickel-sized dots maybe is a good thing to compare it to. Anyway, people constantly rake me in the videos because they say I use too much polish, but I actually do that on purpose sometimes because I'm trying to prove a point. Now this polish actually smells really good. I don't know what it's, maybe it says what it smells like. It smells like maybe cherries or something. Really good smell. Anyway, not the point. So this is about how much polish I applied. Alrighty, so you can see that. I'm gonna be doing basically this entire half of the vehicle here. So what I wanna do is use a paint stripper before I actually start. So this is a paint stripper by Americana Global. It's called, believe it or not, Stripper. And sounds kind of weird, right? I'm gonna put stripper on my car. I'm not gonna put a stripper on my car. I'm just putting stripper on my car. Okay, anyway, this isn't actually my car. So, I'm just taking all the oils off the paint and any like leftover residue from waxes or sealants or, I don't know, fingerprints or body oils if somebody was touching the paint. This is just kind of a final little wipe down. Basically before this I cleaned it, then I clayed it, and of course now I'm using the paint stripper. So basically clean, decontaminate, and then strip. And I believe the directions on this say to just wipe off very, quickly, but I kind of like to massage it in for a second. I don't know, maybe my OCD, but it kind of makes me feel like I'm getting a little bit more stripped off the paint. So there we go. Now I'm going to use this little tool. It's called a Flamethrower. It's basically just finds imperfections in the paint. And this is actually from a company called Buff Bright. And generally it has a little handle on this and it attaches to your polisher. But I'm not attaching it to my polisher right now. I'm just going to kind of use it with my hands. So you guys can see there's tons of imperfections, right? Don't look directly into the, look at the halo of the light. Don't look directly into the light, and hopefully you guys can kind of pick up on those imperfections in the paint. So I'm going to try to go across. It's a little difficult, right? Like, it's light outside and this color is it's like a pale blue, and so it's difficult to see all the imperfections, but I got a good camera, so I think you guys are picking up on that. So I'll just keep going for a second. Swirls, rids, all sorts of imperfections. But again, the point here is kind of twofold. Number one, I just kind of want to use this polisher in a video so you guys can see it work, as well as kind of see how easy it is to use. But I also kind of want to test how much this finishing polish will correct. Now again, a finishing polish is not necessarily to correct as much as it is to like restore gloss and maybe even remove some holograms if you use like a rotary. So again, this video is like, well, it's more than twofold. There's like a lot of things being tested here. The pad, here's the variables. Let me say it like this. Here are the variables in this video. You have to take everything into context, and you can't blame the polisher or the polish or the polishing pad in like an isolated instance. You have got to put various variables together and figure out what you're dealing with. So not only are we testing the polisher, we're testing the polishing pad, and we're testing the polish itself. And of course, on top of that, another huge variable is the paint itself. How hard is the clear coat? All this, how damaged is it again? And so once again, I'm not trying to remove a ton of swirls, but I did just want to see what it looked like afterwards to see how much will this polish as a finishing polish remove swirls. It'll remove haze, it'll remove probably oxidation, but these rids, how will it do? So I'm gonna go ahead and dab it around the paint, right? Because you always wanna make sure that you kind of spread it around. I'll even move it a little bit like this. Alrighty, again, I've got an ultra finishing pad and a finishing polish, but I'm actually not gonna speed any of this up, which is gonna make it a little bit longer video. You can fast forward through this part if you like. I'm just gonna let you guys see this polisher work in the most raw sense possible. polish smells good. Americana Global. Yeah. Okay, so I have not yet taken the polish off. Now I'm gonna comment on the polish and comment on what I did, but the next step is obviously removing the polish. Here is where a lot of guys go wrong. This seems like common sense, I know, and I'm gonna say it anyways. The thing that scratches paint, I think, arguably more than anything else, is our microfiber towels. Sometimes we drag microfiber towels across paint that have been washed over and over again, and not only do the microfiber get damaged, but they have like tiny little grains in them and minerals and stuff that you can't even see. So when I get finished polishing a car, I always use a new, fresh, never touched, never used microfiber, because if I'm gonna go to all the effort that it takes to polish a whole freaking car and paint correct an entire car, I have always used a new microfiber towel. So You also want to use a plush microfiber towel, a soft microfiber towel. So you could use, like, I'm a big fan of like the Costco Kirkland microfiber towels because they're really cheap and you can get a lot of them and you can more or less like treat them kind of like they're disposable. However, while I'm talking about Max Shine, I might as well tell you guys they have something called the yellow Zero Crazy. I think they have a blue Zero Crazy microfiber towel. This is a very, very, very soft microfiber towel. It's also edgeless, all right? So you guys can see it's an edgeless towel and it's really, really big, okay? So it covers like a lot of surface area. It's just a good towel. I think like 6 come in a pack. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 6 and they're like $11 or something. They're really, really, really well priced. And again, they're just high quality microfiber. I know, stop talking about it. Okay, so I'm just gonna fold it. I'm gonna use the lower pile side and I'll fold it probably twice and I'm going to remove the polish. Now again, why is it important that I use a new microfiber? Obviously, right? Obvious reasons. Sometimes you get messages, I get messages from guys that are like, dude, I spent 6 hours doing paint correction and my car still sucks. And I'm like, well, what kind of towel did you use? Oh, I used the towel that I normally use to wash my cars and the towels that I use on the outside. And I say, was it new? And they say, no, I use it again. I used one of my paint microfiber towels. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Like, paint is so fragile, it's ridiculous. Paint is just really, really easily scratched. And so you just have to be, I don't know, you just gotta be like kind of dramatic about it. Be a little bit more careful than you thought you should be. Okay, so before we do anything, let me take the light out and let's look at the results. Okay, phenomenal results, right? And I didn't think I was gonna be disappointed with the Americana Global polish, but you guys can see there's still some, particularly what you're gonna see are number 1, water etchings, watermarks, water spots, and then you're gonna see RIDs, random, what we call random isolated deep scratches, okay? You're not really anymore at this point seeing any swirls, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a bunch of different angles here, so bear with me. Okay, and again, if you're seeing kind of a flawless finish, I mean, it's kind of because it is. So what does that tell me? Well, the polish is fantastic, the pad is fantastic, I love the company, Americana Global, and again, I didn't hear about them until like 2 months ago, and you're getting these kind of results. So this is why I'm saying you should check out their pads. They're just straight up good pads. It's straight up, it's a good polish. A finishing polish did this. Okay, so there you go. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Max Shine polisher. Okay, the polisher itself. I didn't speed any of that up because I hope you guys could see. There are times where I literally am holding it one hand. I mean, look at me right now. I'll hold it one-handed using it on the paint. There are times when I use it two-handed, but again, one of the main issues that you find with DA polishers is the vibrations and the user experience like suck because it's hard to control. Either there's a ton of power and too big of a backing plate, or it's just poorly made. Whatever it is, it ends up having a lot of vibrations and it ends up kind of being difficult, again, to control. The biggest thing about this polisher to me that it kind of stuns me is, and again, this is the Pro version of the M15. It's got a 15mm throw. The thing that stuns me is the number 1, I always say this, the price point, and then number 2, the user experience, and I guess I should add number 3, the results, like you guys just saw, right? You can't argue with the results, right? You can't argue with results. And so I just love this polisher and I find myself reaching for it more than I reach for my more expensive polishers. And again, I'm not saying this is the best polisher that's ever been made on the history of the planet. I'm saying for the price point it's at, it's just incredible. And I really want to harp on that point where I can literally use one hand and maintain complete control over the paint. And at the same time, while I'm using this polisher and I have one hand back here controlling it, I'm barely not only am I not putting any pressure down with my body and I'm just letting the weight of the polisher be enough, I am barely touching it with my left hand here. When I'm polishing, I am simply like guiding it with my left hand. I don't have to hold the head. I don't have to keep a solid grip. I can literally just barely touch. I hope you guys saw that when I didn't speed up the video. I think I made it pretty clear, but I can literally like use 2 fingers and just guide it. and it just makes the user experience so fantastic. And again, you can't argue with results. Like, that's what the paint looks like before, that's what the paint looks like after. It is what it is. So if you're in the market for a DA polisher, definitely this one is one to consider. Again, there's kind of a lesser version. It's a 900 watt motor, still 5-inch backing plate, kind of the same build, but just a little bit less power, right? And then another thing I kind of wanted to touch on is the fact that you have a 1,000 watt motor behind a 5-inch backing plate. And I say this in a lot of my videos, but when you put that much power behind a smaller backing plate, it just focuses the power and control in a way where, again, you get these fantastic results. And of course, don't ruin your paint correction job, your polishing job, or your compounding job by using a microfiber that sucks, or by using a microfiber that has been used already, and then you get disappointed because you spent all day working and your microfiber put swirls back into the paint. I would encourage you to check out some newer towels. Of course, I'll hook all of these things up, including the pad, the polish, everything I used here in the YouTube description box below if you guys want to check any of this stuff out on Amazon.com. If you buy any of it using my links, it does give this channel a small commission, but it helps this channel stay alive. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button for me, and of course, questions, comments, concerns, put them in the YouTube comments below. And guys, thank you for being involved here. If you're new and you love everything auto detailing, I make videos all the time just like this, so consider subscribing. Once again, thank you guys for being involved. And from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I will see you guys in the next video.